Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ninja Chickens channel. My name is Maria, and this is my channel about crafty things, usually knitting, spinning, botanical printing, and natural dyeing, and sometimes some homesteading and homeschooling thrown at the end. It's nice to have you back. Thanks for joining me. You can find me on Instagram as at ninja.chickens and on Ravelry as Ninja Chickens, and there's a Ravelry Ninja Chickens group, and all the show notes are on ninjachickens.org. Okay, welcome to episode 20. I am excited that you're here. It is a gorgeous morning out on our land today. It's Monday, the 9th of October, and it rained for the first time yesterday in weeks. I didn't realize how dry it had been around here until I walked over to our pond, which is that little hill right there. In that area there is a pond, a little kidney bean shaped pond. I walked over to it and it was almost dry, and that's only happened maybe twice in the past 10 years that we've lived on this land. And I just didn't realize how dry it had been. Everything was so green from the summer. So it was really nice to have some rain. It was one of those Sundays, and it was perfect because it was a Sunday. It's one of those days where you just want to curl up under a blanket and knit or watch a movie or read a book and just listen to the rainfall. It was so nice. And we're supposed to get some more today and tomorrow, so that'll be wonderful. So this morning it's a little cloudy. There's mist around the mountains, and you can hear the rain dripping off the trees, which is really nice. So welcome. I don't have a whole lot to talk about with you today because I've been focusing pretty much on one project, and I'll show that to you. But I do have a finished object, and that is my botanically printed cowl. I took a sock blank that I printed, and there we go. And I added on, I seamed up the ends, and then I picked up stitches and added on a border. So now I have a cowl. So many people were saying that they don't want to tear these apart to knit something out of them. So I thought, well, I'll try making something that doesn't require taking it apart. And I also like wearing it like this. It's just big enough to cover your ears and your head, and then it stretches out and shows off the pattern, so it's kind of fun. My daughter said I looked like a country grandma, and I said, cool! Yay! She's like, that wasn't meant to be a compliment. But I took it as one because I'd love to be a country grandma. So that is that, and I love it. I just used some scrap yarn that I had in my stash that I thought picked up the blues well. And that's my only finished object. I have worked a little bit on my Claire poncho, but mostly I've been working on my hat. So this is my one work in progress, and it's kind of big, as you will see. I have knit all the neutral stripes and have started on the central panel. And if my calculations are correct, I have knit just about 70,000 stitches so far on this thing. Here's what it looks like so far. Isn't that awesome? It is so pretty. And I thought that I didn't read ahead in the pattern. I thought that once you get to the center, you just keep going around in a circle, but you don't. You knit on one of the four sides as if you would be knitting like a heel flap, and you pick up the side stitches as you go and knit those together. So you're knitting back and forth and basically knitting a square all the way down, so the center will be in garter stitch. But if my calculations are correct, I only have about 10,000 stitches more. So I'm really excited. This is possibly going to be done in the next couple of weeks. And it's so big and soft and fluffy. And one thing I forgot to tell you, because you can see you're knitting in the round, but some of these stitches are purl rows. Some of these rows are purl rows. You'll knit a row, then purl a row, then knit a row, then purl a row. And some of the rows you're doing lace. So instead of purling rows, what I actually did was I cheated. I would get to the last stitch in the row, knit that, slip the marker, wrap and turn, and knit back the other way. So all I was doing was knitting, which is why it was making a lot faster. The only rows that I purled on are the purl rows that included lace, because it was just too much thinking to figure out how to go backwards that way. But it was super simple. And you know, now that you guys know that's what I did, you would probably be able to find that one corner where I wrapped and turned, and it's a little bit thicker. Let me see if I can find it. But honestly, it's really not that obvious. It's more obvious that I wove in my ends as I went. So you can see some spots like right here where I carried the white along with the darker brown. And as I knit, I wove in the ends. But yeah, I love it. So now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to block this thing because it's close to done. And I think what I'm going to do, instead of building a whole hap stretcher and drilling all the holes for the dowels that you need to stretch this whole thing out, I think I'm just going to take 4 pieces of wood and make them into a square, a big frame, and then use yarn to wrap around those 4 pieces to catch the edges, if that makes sense. I'll take pictures of it when I do it, but I'll, you know, that'll hold it up to block it the way it should be blocked. I think that'll work. We'll see. But anyway, that has been pretty much the thing I've been working on full time, just because I'm really enjoying it. And it's almost like self-striping socks. You just want to keep going. So you'll, you know, though it's got, you know, a couple thousand stitches in some of these stripes, you just want to keep on knitting them. So I've been working on that, and I don't think I'll have it done next time, but we'll see. I'm going on a little trip with Kaya. I promised I would take her to what's called Beach City Con, which is the first con of this kind, and she watches a show that she really likes called Steven Universe. It's a cartoon, but it's a cartoon that adults and teens like. So she's watched it for the last couple of years and really enjoys it, and they're having their first con, their conference. So I'm taking her there, which is in Virginia Beach, this coming weekend, so I may have some travel knitting that I can do. We're going with a few other friends and another mom. So maybe I'll have it done, we'll see. So I've been doing a lot of eco printing, but I have had a few smaller releases over the last couple of weeks, partly because I knew that this was going to happen. Look at that. That's my sock blank. I was thrilled when they contacted me and told me they wanted to put one of my sock blanks in their magazine. This is Lie in the Magazine. I believe it's a Finnish magazine. And they saw Twisted Finch on Instagram opening up a trade that we did, and saw one of the sock blanks that I had sent him, and they said, "We love them. Can we please put it in our magazine on our favorites page?" Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So I was so excited. I made sure I had lots of stuff that I could put up in the store, but it goes so quickly I can't keep it in there, which isn't a problem for me. That's awesome, and I love it that you guys are loving these. But I wanted to try and have a little bit in, you know, every couple of days so people who saw it in the magazine could go and look at it and see what they're about. But that was kind of hard to do, I'll have to admit. I tried to schedule it so I could put another 10 blanks in every couple of days. But that meant that every couple of days I was also doing packaging and labeling and going to the post office. And so what I'm thinking of doing is, what I've started doing is putting the next release date in my Etsy store so you can see when the sock blanks are going to be coming out. And we'll probably have 2 releases a month if I can schedule that. And that way, you know when they are, I know when they are. I just know that the couple of days after that will be more packaging and getting them to the post office. Because, I mean, any of you who are dyers know that the behind the scenes work, the back end work, not just the dyeing, but the other stuff, takes probably more time than the dyeing does. So I'm trying to figure out how to manage that with homeschooling and everything. But in honor of having it in Line magazine. And fall, and it being my 20th episode, I wanted to have a giveaway of one of my sock blanks. So I would like to give you guys this. Let's see if I can get a good, oh, it's so blown out. There we go. So there is a sassafras and some black walnut. I think this is a fig leaf, and marigold and maple, and black walnut and butterfly pea flowers. So what I'm going to do, I don't know what question I want to ask. I like asking thoughtful questions because it's a fun way to get to know you guys better. What I'll do is I'll put a picture of this up in the Ravelry group in a thread so you can answer the question if you want to win this. And it'll run for 2 weeks, and it'll be international, and I will send it out. Let's see, look at that one. That maple with a little bit of indigo on it. It's much more, there's much more color in person. It's very overcast, so it's really blown out. But yeah, you can see some of it. Anyway, I just want to thank you guys for all the support of my sock blanks, of this podcast, of everything that I've been doing. So I want to give this away. So check out the Ravelry group, and it will be there. And thank you. And go get Line magazine. It's really, really good. There's some fabulous sweaters and knitwear in there. Some really beautiful patterns. I mean, just the pictures are beautiful, and stories and recipes. That's the word I was looking for. So that's this one. It's the 3rd issue. See if you can see. Yeah, there you go. And speaking of giveaways, I have one to announce. I was doing a giveaway with these 2 beautiful skeins of yarn from Lavender Mountain Yarn. And the question was about who has inspired you in the past. I said a teacher, but many of you, I mean, it didn't have to be a teacher from elementary school. It could be anyone who you consider someone who teaches you something. And I love reading those responses. I can't tell you how much it means to go in there and read everything that you guys, everything that you put in there, all the heartfelt responses that you do. So, so thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's a lot of fun for me. So we had 85 entries. So I put in the numbers in random.org, and it was number 26. Enatanad. I'm not positive exactly how to pronounce it. Let me read that to you. Okay. And, Etanad says, a teacher or professor who had a huge influence on my life is my Dutch practice professor when I started university. I hadn't studied any Dutch in high school, as opposed to my classmates. It was normally a requirement to enter, but they let me get in anyway. And I was therefore a lot behind. She just made me feel so comfortable and let me progress and encouraged me while I was catching up. Since then, I've never failed a year or had to retake a class, and now I'm starting my master's. Dutch has become a huge part of my life, and I only have good memories associated with this language, which definitely isn't the case with English and German. Those are harder languages to learn from what I understand, but these are yours. Contact me through Ravelry. I'm really excited that you won, and thank you all for your amazing responses. It's been a lot of fun. So let's see. I did a little bit of natural dyeing also along with the eco printing because I'm working on a new pattern. I am working with Prado de Lana yarn. This is a natural wool from Pennsylvania. I visited their farm when I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I think it's episode 12 or 13. I'm not positive. But did some filming around there to show you what the farm is like. It's just stunning. It's so beautiful. The fields are fenced in, some with rock, some with wooden fencing, just gorgeous green fields. But the one thing that stands out is these massive oak and maple trees. Just ancient looking. The trunks are huge. They're so big and sweeping and beautiful. And so she and I were thinking about a pattern that has an oak motif. So we'll see. It's going to be a hat pattern, but this is what I've dyed up so far. This is goldenrod, and this is black walnut, and I really like how they look together. The green is even more green in person. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Goldenrod and black walnut are abundant right now. The goldenrod is just starting to die back, and you can hear the black walnuts falling off the trees. You may hear some while I'm talking, because back there is a really large black walnut tree, and every so often you hear this thump on the ground. Those things are deadly. You don't want to be driving in a car when one falls off the tree in the road, or under one falls and hits you on the head. They're so big and heavy. But I dyed these two up, and I really like how they came out. So I'm going to get to working on that probably in the next month or two, and hopefully have something out for maybe this winter. We'll see. So let's see. I don't think there's a whole lot more related to knitting. I've not done any spinning. I will have pictures at the end, maybe some little unveiling videos at the end of the botanical printing. There it went. Did you just hear that? That loud thump? That was a black walnut landing in the woods. Anyway, I know that some of you guys had written and talked about how much you like watching the unveiling and the botanical printing pictures, so I'll put some of those at the end for you. Oh, and gosh, this is a very businessy related episode, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't mind. It's just things I'm really excited about right now. Another thing that I'm very excited about is that I have a new logo. I asked Giada Rose, who is at Rose Witchery on Instagram. I've followed her for a long time because I think her artwork is just stunning. She's an amazing artist up in New York. And she's, I have a few of her drawings inside. But I asked her if she would be interested in drawing up a logo for me, because all I have is a stamp that I got from a craft store a long time ago of a chicken. And so I told her I'd like it to be something that is a chicken, that's somewhat plant related and knitting related. And this is what she came up with. Look at that. Isn't she cute? She's sitting on yarn balls and eggs. And she's got leaves underneath her in her nest that I use for my eco printing. So I am so excited about this. I'm getting it put onto my labels right now. And I can't wait to show it with you guys. I hope that for the next release, show it to you guys. I hope with the next release that it will be on the labels. But yeah, this just made me super excited. I think she's so cute. I just said a chicken, yarn, and plants somehow, and that's what she came up with. It can't be more perfect. It's so cute. In home news, school's going well with the kids. Things are starting to die back a little bit here. The weather's actually been unseasonably warm for October. We can have our first frost by October 15th. It has been in the 70s and 80s here, though. It's been hot. So it's going to be weird when fall finally hits. We're not going to be ready for it, I don't think, because it's going to be such a dramatic shift from summer weather to almost winter weather right away. But things are starting to die back a little bit. The leaves are just starting to change. Maybe in a couple of weeks we'll have some good color. Some of the evenings have been cold though, and what happened the other day was a mama mouse, one of my cats, had caught a mama mouse with 4 babies attached. She didn't hurt her. She was just kind of carrying her by the scruff of the neck. Maxine, my cat. So I grabbed Mama and the babies. I put all the cats inside so they wouldn't mess with them, and I put them in the woods. I didn't know where her nest was because I didn't see where she got her from. So I put them in the woods, and I was like, go find another nest. Later on that evening, the cats went out, though, and sniffed around, and we found the babies were still there, but Mama was gone. So I put the cats back inside and thought, okay, hopefully Mama just went to go find a nest and she's going to come back and get them. But the next morning, 2 of them were laying out right where I'm sitting, actually, on this patio, really cold, and I couldn't find any of the others anywhere. So we brought those 2 inside because obviously Mama wasn't coming back for them. and put them on a heating pad and warmed them back up. And by that night, they had a lot more energy. And so I had some baby kitten food for nursing kittens from when we used to foster kittens a while ago. I had some of that. So I made that up and gave it to them in a syringe, and they just gulped it down. Their eyes were open, so they were at least 2 weeks old, and they had fur. But they didn't know what to do with regular food because I'd put that out too, and they didn't know what to do with water. So I syringe fed them for 3 or 4 days until they really started to get their energy back, and started giving them regular mouse food. And now they are eating and drinking without the syringe. They've got to be at least 3 weeks, I think. We keep checking them to see if they're boys or girls. We're hoping it's 2 girls because you can't have a boy and a girl together unless the boy is neutered, or you want a lot of mousy babies, which we don't want. And 2 boys together will fight. So far they look like 2 girls, but you know, things are pretty tiny, so it's hard to tell. They're itty bitty, they're little field mice, so they're super tiny with these big ears. We've named one of them Mrs. Frisbee from the book Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, and we've named one of them Stuart from Stuart Little. And they're just the cutest little things. So right now they're in kind of a glass terrarium, and they've got all kinds of toys and stuff, and the kids are switching them in between their rooms whenever we clean out the cage. They really want to keep them. I'm fine either way. My husband's like, we don't need any more pets. You promised the last time you got a cat you would not get any more pets. So what we are thinking is, if possible, maybe they could live at Kaya's school, because they were talking about getting a class pet. And these guys would be very easy to take care of, and then, you know, we could take them home for the winter if it was super cold during break or something. We'll see. But it's been fun. It's been fun having them in the house, and 3 of the cats completely ignore them and just don't care. And then there's Oreo, who's our major hunter, and he just sits there and stares. He's not tried to go after them or anything, but we do have a spray water bottle just in case he starts climbing up towards the cage. And he's learned very quickly to stay away, so hopefully that won't be a problem. The biggest problem would be if they ever got out, because 1, they're tiny, and it'd be easy for them to get lost, and 2, it'd be easy for him to find them. But right now they're doing well, so that's really cool. They were just so itty-bitty. It was so sweet to see their little tiny paws grab the syringe to eat. It was really sweet. I'll try and put some pictures and videos in if I can get those. But I think that's it. Next time maybe I'll have a finished hat for you. We'll see. I am going to be starting on what is the name of the cardigan? I'm going to be starting on a new cardigan. No, a new pullover by Jen Steingrass, or Knit Love Wool on Instagram. She has come out with a new one in a new magazine that is absolutely stunning, and I'm going to be knitting that up for Edinburgh Yarn Festival in a small knit along for a few other people who really loved it and wanted to knit that up. I know a lot of you have said that it can be really hot inside the festival venue and you don't need a heavy sweater, so I will also probably knit up something light because who needs another excuse to knit? But I'm going to anyway, because it would be fun to have a few things to bring over and something new and light to wear. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. It's always great to have you here. Please go over and say hi in the Ravelry group. It's nice to get to know you guys better, and I hope you have a fabulous couple of weeks. Enjoy your fall weather or spring if you're down south, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Hush, little darling, don't say a word. Papa's in the bayou, a mockingbird. Say, darling, say. If that mockingbird won't sing, Papa's in the bayou, and I'm in ring. Papa's gonna buy you a horse and cart, say, darling, say. If that horse and cart falls down, still the prettiest baby in town, say, darling, say. Start your night, say,